Welcome in wholeness, wholeness, and wholeness. More wholeness. If I gave you more wholeness, it'd be sincerity. Yeah, sincerity in etymology means wholeness. We've had that. So hey, what's up? What's up? And what is up? Glad to be here. Glad. I really appreciate some of my new subscribers. Darlene, welcome aboard. Thank you for your messages and your connection to one of our fine people here that watch all the time that are really invested in Patty. Thank you for Darlene's connection. Thank you, Darlene, like I said, for your messages. That's always appreciated. Them who receive and earns places for growth and much what comes with growth, right? We get these tests and trials or these situations that seem to push us, but they're really leading us to where we need to go when we get a full, deeper spectrum of it and understand the principles of it. We kind of start seeing that it takes certain things to get us to certain places, and definitely the process that's within you, and the process and your whole aspect of that, everything connected to you knows also, right? Your higher self, definitely oversoul, spirit guides, they all know that. They're accompanied to that. They know that they're not going to lead you and do it for you, and they're not going to take you out of your flow because this is the learning for you, but they will definitely be there for you. And that team is working for you, for your aspects of your higher self, for your purposes and everything. So welcome anybody that's here, those who are just learning, those who are just, maybe open to more. Come on in. Definitely go pound. Go on the YouTube and go look into different older videos. I did stuff in older videos that definitely can help you in your growth, depending where you are and what's going on with you. But recently we talked about samsara, right? And I use the analogy of you have this continuous Ferris wheel coming, and then it's connecting us to do it again in the cage of just going through the process of going through the lives, and that we can get stuck, or many individuals can get stuck and have no movement towards consciousness in the lives. We call that being stuck in matter, right? And why you would get stuck in matter, because the matter appears to be a reality until you wake up. Everything you see is matter, right? In this physical 3D form. And I was talking about let me see, September of 23 to late September, some of my videos to early October, I was talking about processes I was seeing looping, right? Back then. And it brought me to this word called feedback loops, which is prominent in a lot of different areas, be it biology, computer, but I also see it through the process of this. So I'm going to call what I call the hamster on the wheel, or I'd call the Ferris wheel, is these looping things that just keep visiting, is like feedback loops that just keep looping around and breaking the getting out of them, and we keep getting these feedback loops that feeds us back into the looping mentality, right? So we're going to look at some words, and we're going to get into what the definitions are, and look at what feedback looks at. Spiritually, there's nothing that I can go to except that is going to clarify, because remember, you're not going to Google a lot of esoteric stuff. Now you can Google it, and it might take you to esoteric books or certain esoteric authors and stuff like that, but you're not going to get the meaning on Google, right? So you have to do some work, but you can take the word feedback. It's definitely used, very much used when you start looking at the principles of, you start looking at esoterica, you start looking at hermeticism, and you start looking at alchemy, and feedback loops are always a language using, because something will always loop around. I noticed it living where I do, that, you know, once you're living and you're acquainted with driving the freeways in greater Los Angeles, that you'll find out that all these freeways, even if you miss a freeway and you go, oh, I was supposed to get off there, if you just be patient and wait, it will loop back to connect to you where you need to go. Always, always. Each freeway will loop back where you can get back to where you're going, and even using another freeway to get there. So it will feedback loop to you again if you miss it. Yeah, I found that out by experience, by missing something and then realizing that this is how it worked. And then I would know, oh, I can take this one, or this one, because it will loop around to get me where I need to go. And even if I miss this one, I got this other freeway coming around that will take me back to another, where I can get off at, or another freeway I can get back on that will take me to where I need to go, because there's always those multiple freeways and aspects of them. They all loop back to each other, or interconnect, or looping back. So let's do this. I'm going to share a screen, and we're going to get into this. And the name of this is we're just going to get into feedback loops, okay? Feedback loops. So let's go into of course, my mighty esoteric etymology. So in 1920, electronic sense, the return of fraction of an output signal to the input of an earlier stage, from a phrase from feed back, transferred use, information about the results of the process, is attested in 1965. So biofeedback loop, use of electronics to monitor automatic bodily function to train a person to control it, from biofeedback, said to have coined by U.S. psychologist and parapsychologist, psychologist Gardner Murphy. This goes into plane curve. Let's kind of end it there. So what it is so this feedback, you can even look at it, was 1920 that electronics, what they're talking about in the 1920s, and even got attested in the 1955. So these feedback loops are something that keeps reoccurring. And when you're looking at things as we live in a matrix, which is a type of aspects of a simulation are in a matrix, you need to know that there's aspects of the simulation that we have living in a matrix. Matrix actually is connected to the womb, but also connected to the sim, or the simulation. I kind of had shared that you look at the very first, or the biggest company, it might have not been the first, that would sell milk to babies, or formula when mothers didn't breastfeed, would be called Simulac. And then I'm looking up the word one day, and I'm like, the Simlacs, because it's not organic. That's how I looked at this simulation of fake breast, fake powder vitamins really is a Simulac compared to the organic of the mother's real milk, if I'm not say so myself. So, and then you start looking at the Simpsons, or seminary. You see the word sim, right? The Simpsons, seminary. These may ring with you. Seminary, the Simpsons, is really telling you about kind of the matrix, not kind of, the matrix is connected to a simulation. So we're going to use examples of negative feedback loops. So here we got a feedback loop, and this is just in body temperature. Remember, there's nothing to use in this for spirituality that I know of, but feedback loops come as we live. Samsara was what we've seen already, right? In a video, we have the Samsara videos, and when you have the Samsara videos, you realize that you're operating in these feedback loops of life after life, and you can get caught up not distinguishing or waking up in multiple lives that you just keep repeating, and there's no inching towards a conscious awakening. You just keep repeating and there's no gain for you, and you feed back and do it again, and it loops around and does it again. Making no choice, there's really ends up being no choice but to get, because you're stuck in the feedback loop, which is really, like the samsara said, the samsara would say would be the continuous reincarnation, death and birth, rebirth loop, feedback loop. I used a Ferris wheel, but the feedback loop keeps coming without you making the choice to get on it or not get on it. We do it in behaviors, in the physical. We do it in repeated behaviors, in bad habits or habits. Good habits can be used too. In the way I'm saying good habits is you can break feedback loops with good habits. I haven't said this maybe for a bit, but I was saying, looking at this, when you really start seeing that the best way to break feedback loops, right, is that when you, and that I'm going to take it into the natural, like a bad habit, right? You continually do the same things. Your life is the same. You can write it in a book, or you could take a picture or make a movie out of it, and you're doing the same thing every day. But the best way to break would almost be like glitching the feedback loop or glitching the matrix, or glitching it would be to do things different. Say, I get up every day at 7 o'clock. I do a little, I get up, get some gratitude. Then I go make some breakfast, drink a drink, maybe have some coffee, maybe a shake, a healthy a mineral shake, vitamin shake, whatever I do. And I continually do this every day. Then go sit down, read the paper, read the news, whatever it may be. What I'm showing you, you created an algorithm because you're not changing. And this is what's happening by not hitting the feedback loop. You have no choices. One more time, you have not a choice. That's why I was saying in the 3D reality, guess what you do? This is the least amount of free will you'll have operating in you, because you're on a karmic wheel. You're dealing with natural or cosmic law along with karma, and everybody just says, let it come. So when you go, you get back on the loop again, you get back on the Ferris wheel, you get back on the feedback loop, and you just keep doing this over and over. One of the best ways to change, now we're going to go the physical of our life, you have habits that start, and you want to glitch something and make changes, is to make changes would be, Danny gets up, takes a deep breath, maybe stretches some, but goes then immediately on a walk. Goes and walks 1.5 miles, comes back, reads or studies, calls some friends, helps somebody do something, and you said, what did he do? You broke the habits. So awakening will have you break the habit of sleeping. The awakened ones, because we within ourselves have a team of ourselves connected to ourselves and our system to help push us as we wake up ourselves. And a lot of times for us, it's breaking the habits. There's books and teachings out right now that if you break habits, that it takes 21 days to break habits, right? So they would say, there's actually this country song out now talking about that song, Breaking Habits, about 21 days to break a habit. So when you look at this feedback loop keeps coming because nothing's changing. You keep having the no gain of consciousness, no gain. So you're getting in this feedback loop, this samsara feedback loop. You're chasing the same light because you can only chase the light it matches you. You can only chase the frequency it matches you. And if you're still playing the game of samsara, or you're playing the game of rebirth and birth because you're not budging, not changing, not breaking habits, not waking up, this will keep repeating over and over. Let's see if this has anything else to read. Feedback is come in two different kinds, positive and negative. We know that's energetic fields, right? That's everything is positive and negative. It's actually very, very, actually the positive and negative is actually a hermetic principle, which is called gender. Yeah, it is. It's a hermetic principle that everything aligns with physical, no matter what level of aspect of everything has a feminine and masculine energy basis. Everything, higher levels, lower levels, everything does. So the feedback loops are more common and to work to keep a system stabilized or at equilibrium. Learn more about the negative feedback along the several examples of biological mechanical. You'll also find the difference between positive and, let's read what, a negative feedback is a reaction that causes decrease in function, and this is what's happening. A negative loop is a reaction that causes decrease in function. It occurs in response of some kind of stimulus. Often it causes the output of system to be lessened. This would be the feedback loop that happens because you're not budging, because nothing's changing, and it's a decrease. Because what you see the decrease is another video that we already passed. It connects with it. What's happening in that is soul loss, which means spiritual amnesia. You're not functioning, you're not remembering. You're not remembering who you are in order to even wake yourself up or be woken up into who you are as you start the process of the awakened ones who start taking responsibility, whose consciousness raises, whose consciousness goes to another level. In the process of this, there's a decrease in function and a lessening. There's a stimuli, and notice this is even in habits. That you'll notice when you break habits, you want to break out of something, it's all really connected to, you want to glitch the matrix, and you want to, if you want to break the algorithm of this, do things different than you've been doing day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out, do it different. This is the easiest, this is how you break habits. This is how you break the matrix. This is how you glitch the matrix in the reality of glitching it. This is how you start putting cogs in a system, but releasing your system instead of lessening this. You lessen the system, but now when you do that, but you increase you function, your function. Come on now. This can refer to as homeostasis, which is balance. In biology, it's equilibrium, and that would be actually the part of this is actually when you take the circle, the perfect circle, right? And you twist it, and then you put it sideways. After you take that perfect circle, you twist it, you got affinity. But affinities now is like this, right? It's the spiral, and it's laying down the other way. It's the infinity sign, 8-track, racetrack, right? Back in my days when I was a teen, we had 8-track tapes. And if you remember, the tapes going that way. So a negative feedback loop can lessen your vitality. And that's why I would say soul loss, amnesia. Because it's really not, soul doesn't lose, but the amnesia part does. And the vitality of the effect of the stimulus, and this would even go in behaviors. Why are people addicts? Because the reality of a lot of what soul loss is and why there's amnesia is because of addiction. And that addiction can be anything. There's not just one addiction. Anything that you can get addicted to can cause soul loss or amnesia. Let's see if there's anything else down here. That's temperature, blood pressure. We're not really into that, but that can something to look at. But this would be physical or biological. Let's go into here, which I guess we were here, huh? We were here. Let's go into etymology over here. So I tried to go and look for the word feedback, right? Feedback loops, it didn't give me feedback, but let's look what it means. And I had read it earlier, didn't I? 55, I remember that, yeah. So let's go out. So the feedback loops that can be the negative ones, why we keep repeating the same things over and over, is because of what we just brought. It can be living many lives, not budging your consciousness, staying the same. And then when we get aware of this, we start making changes for ourselves, practicing that would glitch the matrix or stop the algorithm. Because you can't be your algorithm can't be read when you're not doing what the algorithm has said you do, which is the same thing every day. And it's like, blah, blah, blah. You glitch that. You lessen the matrix and add it to yourself. 21 days to kick a habit. Whatever the habit is, right? They said if you do 21 days of not, that's how you break a habit. And it makes sense because when you go into numerology, 21 would be 2 + 1 is 3. And then we know everything works in a trinity. Everything about us works in a three from the pyramid, top, 2 sides, the bottom, father, mother, child, father, mother, and then the lower is the child. These are actually 3 aspects of brains. Yeah, that's why we open our heart chakra and let it start being the projector. And then when we activate this and the oil goes down through the heart chakra, right? The heart, the sacred heart. And what that oil coming down is not the same oil aspect going up. That's the christened Christ now. The anointed Christ that would represent. So that's a feedback loop. You're always going to hear that connected to different things in this arena of these different teachings of how this works. And one of the biggest things is it's huge in the computer world. And remember, and I've said this many times, always remember this fact: computer and technology in many, many ways, in all ways, is a copy of you. You're the organic of the copy of the computer is the inorganic copy of you. Yes, it is. So that's it. This was a really quick one. I just wanted to, because you'll hear feedback loop a lot. So you're going to hear other videos and it mentioned, I will say it more. Remember what it applies to. I see it even applying to the matrix, but then also applying to samsara. That's what samsara was. Sam and Sarah was the feedback loop, not being stuck and not being able to get off that feedback loop, where you can now make the change, where you say, oh, there's the light. Why do I keep going to the certain light when where's the choice of the other lights for me? Well, when you're battling in samsara, you're always going to be drawn. It's always going to match you unless you start activating you. You guys have a great day.